money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she say, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap.
$1 an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? There's money everywhere. There's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You watching Casino is the Name. And in this video, we're going to talk about my philosophy on why I say 200,000 is, at least for me, that should be the new standard. You know, should be the new standard of living. Of course, the cost of living has gone up like crazy, but I can say, at least for my position, you know, I've probably made six figures for several years, but it was like right at 100,000, 110, 105, 120,000 or so. So my first year going over like the $200,000 mark, I'd say that 200,000 is like the first time that like I feel like you're able to you're actually able to do things. Like you're actually able to afford to live. I mean, of course you can do things that, even if you're making 50,000, you can afford to do things. But I mean, like seeing your accounts continuously rising, and it's like when you make $100,000 a year, let's just say you're making $60,000 a year. It's very difficult to say, oh, I'm gonna put up any real amount of money, right? Like if you make 60,000, it's hard to put up $20,000 out of 60,000, especially with the current prices of things as how they are today, right? You may be able to pay off one car. 200,000, you can pay off 3 cars at one time. Like, you know, it's just very different at this level. Like I thought that most of the difference would have came around the $100,000 mark, but at 100,000, yeah, I was able to live a little better, or, you know, kind of move around a little different, but it wasn't anywhere close to, I wasn't too far away. Like 80,000 isn't very far from 100,000. Like I have a friend of mine, she said she won't date a guy who makes less than 80,000 because 80,000 to her is like anybody can make 80,000, right? And that is still like the top 15% of the population that would make 80,000. Like it's still not, and 80,000 is $20,000 different from 100,000. And at 100,000, that's, you know, top 10% of the population. So less than 10% of the population made that. And so when you're looking at it like that and you're saying, well, 80,000 is only $20,000 difference. It's not too, it's only about a 5% difference in the population that makes the difference of that. And so when at 100,000, 105, 110,000, you still definitely, I mean, even at 200, you still want to watch what you spend and things like that, of course. But like, it's not too far away from making 40 and 50,000 and 70,000 and 80,000. Yeah, it's a couple, you know, it's a couple $1,000s more, but it's not like a $40,000 difference from 80,000. It's not like you making 100,000 and with today's current bills and the prices of things, how they've gone up, it's at 100,000. I mean, it probably feels like what it probably felt like to make 70, 60 or 70,000 back in the day, you know, just how it feels. So I'd say definitely there's a noticeable difference once you make it to the $200,000 mark. And so a lot of my friends, you know, they talk about making 100,000 one day and stuff like that. And I think that we need to change the standard because, of course, whatever we set it for, we're more than likely going to hit. Maybe it's way down the line, but, you know, if we're trying to get to 100,000, it's all we dream about, and we get to 100,000, then you're going to realize 100,000 is not too much difference. You're still like limited to a lot of things. You still can't really save a lot of money. You still can't really put yourself in a certain position. I mean, you can still definitely put yourself in some decent positions because it's still going to depend on how you spend and things like that. But it's definitely a noticeable difference, at least in 2022, if you make 100,000 versus, or 200,000 versus anything below that. It's definitely a noticeable difference. I mean, maybe if you're making 180, 160, 170, you're heading that way. But I'd say I noticed the biggest difference once passing the $200,000 mark, where I'm actually able to do a lot more, like spend the money I'm gonna spend, but I still have extra. And, it's just a lot more you can do. And I think that we just need to change the standard. So many people trying to get to the $100,000 mark, which of course you should be trying to get as much money as possible. But I don't think that you even begin to really see any sort of freedoms until you get to a $200,000 mark. That's just my opinion, of course. That's just, where you can actually, if you got a business and you can actually hire personnel, like imagine having a business and your business makes 100,000. Your business makes 100,000 and this is the only thing that you do. This is the only money that comes in. Your business make 100,000. Who are you hiring? Who can you hire? Who can you afford to employ? You can't afford to employ anybody. I mean, at 100,000, if you're trying to live off of that, like you got to pay yourself a salary or you got to run your business and your business make 100,000. Are you living out of 40,000 and paying somebody 60? Or are you paying somebody 40 and living out of 60? You just can't afford to do much, but at least at $200,000 business, maybe you can afford to hire somebody. Maybe, I don't know. But definitely, even as an employee, it's so much more that I can do from this standpoint, having any money saved. They say the average person doesn't have $500 in an emergency. I don't know if it was something like 60%. I could be quoting these numbers wrong, so y'all go look it up. Matter of fact, if you could, get in the comment section and let me know what that is. But look up $500 in an emergency, or the average person in $500 in an emergency. See what the percentage is. I think it was like 60% of people wouldn't have $500 in an emergency. The house is burning down. Like you need a heart transplant and you just short $500. 60% of the population, I believe, won't have that $500 in an emergency. And that's an extreme case. Like when we say in an emergency, that's a completely different thing from saying just walking around on a daily basis. So in an emergency, you can't get your hand on 500. That's crazy. That's severe, right? So when I'm saying 200,000 should be the new standard, or it is the new standard to me, I'm saying that because based on what I've known, what I've learned, and making money is not very difficult. Like you can trip and fall into $40,000 a year. You can trip and fall. There's people who begging you to take that right now. I just went to Starbucks. All right, Starbucks is shut down where I go, where I normally go. They make the best. They were shut down. Why were they shut down? They had one employee call out and couldn't afford to open. Nobody showed up for work. One employee, I guess, was going to run the whole shift or whatever, but nobody showed up, so they didn't open that today. It's money everywhere. Businesses can't hire enough people right now. They're begging for people to come to work. So when I'm saying that 200,000 should be the new standard, that is me trying to set a new baseline for my people who get into what we do. Okay, so somebody said 53%. Need 200,000 with inflation, US dollar value is diminished. Yeah. You need that. You just about need $200,000. Jabraz said, "What's up, Casino? What's good, bro?" Naturally Awakened said, "Hi, everyone." Yeah. All right. Precise. What up, bro? What's good, man? What's good? Yeah, we got a link. Joseph Smith says, "Need 200,000 with inflation, US dollar value is diminished." Naturally Awakened said 53% of Americans do not have $500 in an emergency. 32% can't find $400. I don't know how that, I'm not really sure how that went backwards or whatever, but that was Christopher Hill the second. Yeah, so like, think about that, right? Like, if in today's world where cars, houses costing, my house went up $22,000 1 month in valuation or whatever. So in 1 month, right, it's up over $200,000 over the last 6 years or so. Just this house, my other house is up over $100,000 in equity, and these things happen in short periods of time. How do you save up enough money to buy these things? You have to use credit in order to even get into the game, because to save up $200,000, $500,000, whatever, while you're paying rent, or you got to stay somewhere, right? So if you're paying rent, you got to use credit. So you got to use your credit. But, you know, if you don't have good credit, you need to focus on building your credit. And then you got to focus on also your career and things like that. It's just a lot that we need. It's like, basically, you know what? It's like a checklist. I might need to create a checklist to say, check this box off, check this box off, check this box off. Because financial freedom, I don't even want to say financial freedom. I think people use that term. I don't want to use that term, but financial literacy, financial stability is not very difficult if you follow certain like key like procedures. It's not a difficult thing. You just have to do it. But you also have to know. You have to know what you're doing, right? So if there was a checklist that you could follow, which maybe I should create if nobody's created it. I don't know. I'm gonna look around and see if I see a checklist that lines up with what I'm talking about. But you get your checklist and you just follow that checklist, and I guarantee you to be a multimillionaire by the time it's time for you to go into retirement. It's almost impossible for you to not be a multimillionaire if you follow these certain basic key procedures. But if you don't ever do them and you don't ever learn about them, then you'll never do it. But if you're still looking at $100,000 right now, I understand. If you're not there yet, get there and then look past that. We got to keep pushing. You know, I was just telling one of my friends, like, I'm pretty vocal. When me and my friends, I don't say my exact income and all that, everything on camera. But when I'm talking to my family, my friends, we're very open, we're very upfront, because without the conversation, we won't know, right? If your parents never told you how much money they made per hour 25 years ago, when you become an adult, you're going to go out and try to find a job making $15 an hour when you didn't know that 30 years ago your mom made $15 an hour, right? You don't even know this, so you're unprepared for society, you're unprepared for the world. Now, when she was making $15 an hour, that might have been great money back then. But today, you need like $35, $40 an hour just to survive almost. And so there's a huge difference there in just knowledge base. And so when we were looking at 100,000 when I was young, yes, that seemed like God money. It seemed like, don't get me wrong, 100,000, you can definitely make it by. You can live, and you're still in the top 10% of the population, which is why it's so crazy. Why is that still in the top 10% of the population when there's so many different ways to make money, and and the cost of things is just so high? You're going to need to bring in more money. Now, if you make 100,000, let's say you don't make 200,000 yourself. Maybe you need to get with somebody else, and maybe y'all need to cohabitate or whatever, but your household needs to be bringing in like 200,000. And so if you can't do it yourself, then get with somebody and they making 100,000 and you making 100,000, or maybe they making 150 and you making 90, cool. But I'm telling you, the $200,000 mark is the first number that I have gotten to and was like, oh, this is drastically different. This is drastic. This is not like making 100,000 and still having to send money to your cousin who just got locked up, or put money on somebody's books in prison when you're making $100,000 and you got to pay mortgages and rents and car notes and all of that kind of stuff. It's a huge difference. Well, it's a noticeable difference at the $200,000 mark. It's the first time that I felt like, oh, I can do that and still put a decent amount of money up, So I out of that 200,000, well, it's a little more than 200, but out of that, I save over 20%. I mean, over 10%. Well, I save over 10% in just one account, right? Like, put 10% of my salary up out of that, or a little more. I put 20% of my actual salary, but it's like out of, say, 200 and some thousand, because I make that with a collective. I don't make 200,000 from just one thing. I have like multiple streams of income. Now, some of my friends make vastly more money than I do. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars more money. So my money is not really that much compared to some of my personal circle, right? To some people, it may sound like it's a decent amount, or it is a decent amount when you're looking at it in retrospect, because I'm just shy of being in the black 1%. I'm just shy. I'm in the black 2%. I'm in the 2%, okay? But I'm just shy. I'm only a couple $1,000s off, 10, 15,000 off being in the black 1%. But we are very open and honest, or as far as like in my immediate circle, about how much money we actually make and bring in, and we have these money conversations because we're trying to push forward, the culture, our group of people. We're trying to push that forward and trying to do some other things. Oh, hold on. Check something real quick. Yeah. So we're constantly trying to push that forward. So we talk about money all the time. And so this conversation, right before I came in here and we started doing this, I had this conversation with my brother and was telling him, like, I figured out the new number. And the new number is 200,000, at least from what I can tell. All right, let me see. Okay. 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense with savings. It's facts. It's facts. And then BJ said that's per CNBC. Yeah, Precise says get you on next week. I got you, bro. Next week it is. Let's do it. All right. So Naturally Awakened, I see you. Velvet Rose says facts, money is everywhere. Mel and Liz says he not lying. I'm not lying. I promise you. Have you guys gone out? I don't know, just get in the comment section. Let me know if in the last 3 months you went out to eat with maybe just you and another person and the bill was $100. and mind you, people, this is almost every time I go out to eat with anybody. It's $100 plus. I spent $190. I spent $280. It's like crazy, and it's like, bro, I'm not really going anywhere crazy. I'm not going to the creme de la creme, locations. They're adding gratuity in at 18%, and then they're giving you the receipt. And if you don't read it, you're gonna add another 15% on top of that because you're not paying attention to the to the fact that they've already taken gratuity out. And I went to one place, and it was like after a certain time, they have an automatic like 25% increase or something like that in the bill. Like, it's just crazy stuff. But have you gone and a regular night out was $100? I went and got breakfast the other day. It was $53. What? 2 breakfasts. It's $53. I'm never going there again, by the way. All right. Now, do I like to eat good? Yes. Was the food decent? Yeah, it was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. They did some new stuff with the grits, put like some French dressing. I don't know, but it was cool. It was not $53. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It was like 2 salmon and grits and some crab cakes. It was $53. I said, ma'am, what? She said, yeah, our stuff a little pricey. And I'm like in the hood. Like, I'm like, not in like an upscale. I'm not in Buckhead. It's like, what? I'm never coming here again. So somebody, Naturally Awakened says, yes, I live in New York. 100 is the minimum. I'm telling you, like, this is not normal times. Now, do regular people who work at traditional jobs making $50,000, $60,000 a year still get hit with this same $100 bill? Yes, they do. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea how y'all do it. But anybody making less than $100,000 a year, I don't know how y'all eat in the same restaurants as people who, because when I was at 105, if I had seen a bill that was $100, I would have been like, I'm marking this off my list, and I got to go figure out where to get this $100 back right now, because this is just getting too crazy. Also, I don't cook, so Liz, we get beat in the head every day. Yeah, so that's why it was so crazy. I was up in, I think, DC, and like lunch up there was just so high. It was like $40, $50 at lunchtime. It was crazy. It was like, what is this? Where am I? $30 at lunch, $40 at lunch. It's like, bro, I'm not trying to go out to eat. I'm just trying to get lunch off the food truck. It's like $30. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So with these things rising, right, our incomes need to go up too. Our incomes need to go up. Like, we could say 20 years ago, things were 4 and 5 times cheaper. 20 years ago, our incomes did not go up 4 and 5 times. Let's just say, somebody, you know what? I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to look it up. Y'all give me a second. And y'all can look this up too. Look up what the average, this is 2022, so in 2002, what was the average household income in 2022? Average household income 2022. 2002, not 2022. What was it in 2002? In 2002, it says average, let me see what it says, median household. So average and median household income are not the same thing, okay? I want y'all to know that. All right, let's see where it says. See, this is all median household income. I'm on the spot right now. If y'all can find the average household income in 2002. Let's see. All right, okay, here we go. 2000, dang. This ain't gonna give me the information I'm looking for. If y'all can find it, let me know, because, all right. If y'all find it, let me know, because I don't know. I don't even know what this is that I'm looking at. I don't know what this thing is trying to show me. But anyway, I guarantee, like, let's just say it was 40,000. Let's just throw it out there. Let's just say in 2002, average household income was 40,000. I'm not sure what it is right now. Hold on, let me see what you guys said. Okay, I'll be starting some IT classes soon. Oh yeah, IT get that check, bro. IT get a check at our local community college for sure. Don't sleep. They offer good programs at affordable prices. I completely agree. Yeah, I got an associate's degree too. I have an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, but I completely, wholeheartedly believe you need to go get that associate's degree before you try and go get that bachelor's degree. But anyway, so like, yeah, like, with these rising prices, right? Let's just throw this out there and say, because I don't know if anybody looked it up, but let's just say that the average household income in 2002 was $42,000, right? $42,000. It was in 2002. It's 20 years later. In these 20 years, college is at least double. Okay, $42,000. Now, let's say college is quadrupled. Last time I looked this up, college was 4 times more expensive than it was in a 20-year range. But let's say it's 3 times more expensive. Let's say houses. How much have houses gone up since 2002? Well, you could have got a house for $89,000. That house today is probably $400,000-$500,000 that you could have got for $89,000 probably back then. But houses have gone up. They've gone up almost, well, let's just say they tripled, doubled, tripled, or something like that. Let's just say. All right, so, and that's just because, of course, we had this crazy inflation rate here recently. But my house has doubled in 6 years. So let's just say it tripled over a 20-year period. Let's just say it tripled, right? So incomes, what's the current income? In order for us to have kept up with inflation, because food has gone up, gas prices have gone, like everything has just gone up. But what do you think the salary should be to match inflation? What should the salary be? What should the average household income be to match inflation? If it was $42,000, as BJ stated in 2002, for today, that income should be 3 times more to even try to match inflation. And in some areas, it should be 4 times more to just try to match inflation. So we're talking about 42,000 times 3. Over 120-something thousand should be the average household income. You should be making 120,000 as an average, if to even live the way they lived in 2002 off of 42,000. That's the reality of the world we live in. And they're still saying less than 10% of the population, or about 10% of the population, make 100,000. Still, that's been the same statement my whole life. They've still been saying 10% of the population make 100,000. My whole life. What is going on? You should have at least gone up just because of inflation. Just because they need to pay you more money to live, right? Should have been going up, but it's not. It's just stuck. I don't know. All right, Mel, let me see. Okay, so Velvet Rose says they're studying for their Security Plus right now, working on their skills to manifest 200,000. You're going to get there. Listen, I know some people who work in IT who make 200,000 from one stream of income, just from their job. They don't even have their own business. They just got a job. They make 200,000. I was just watching a video where this dude was saying, hold on, let me play it. And it's crazy that I just watched this video and I wasn't even thinking about it. But watch this. Listen what this dude say.
When I got my offer from Google and I saw how much the average software engineer at Google make. If you want to know more, keep on watching.
Listen what he say. Listen to this. Okay.
I receive on my comments and on my Instagram. The video I wish I had, because I actually didn't understand my total compensation when I first signed my offer letter. It's something I had to learn along the way.
Okay, now it's commercial plan, but just wait the way you say it.
If any of that interests you, consider subscribing, maybe. Okay, let's get straight into the point of the video. As you can tell from the title, I have earned over $1 million in my career as a software engineer at Google. Not clickbait, it's 100% facts.
$1 million?
To give a little bit more context.
How long did it take him to make $1 million?
I've only been working for a little bit over 5 years, and I'm still in my 20s.
5 years. In 5 years, he made $1 million, right? If you divide $1 million by 5 years, that's $200,000. And he said in the video, he's going to say, it's truly life-changing. He didn't come from money, this and that, saying so on and so forth. But the $200,000 mark, I wasn't even thinking about it, the fact that it fit what we're talking about. I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, and this is somebody first 5 years in software engineering, and he made $1 million, right? Still early on in his life, still in his 20s, probably like barely in his mid-20s or whatever. But yes, the $200,000 mark, even he is kind of proving my point there. And I didn't even think of that. All right, so, hold on. Minimize somebody I wasn't supposed to minimize. All right, so All right, here we go. All right, so if you guys, let me read what you guys said. All right. You can actually take the classes to get an IT certification without having to get an associate's degree. That's true. That's true. You don't need an associate's degree. If you got the licenses and the certifications and stuff like that, that's even better. I think they usually require management, or they want management to have like the degrees and stuff. But okay, I was drinking the day with my friend, and he was talking about getting squeezed on a contract for $16 million, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, $16 million. That's what I'm talking about. Man, y'all better get y'all some government contracts and stuff like that. So Mercedes Love said, with so much inflation, lunch is more. I bring it with me in hopes of investing more. I can dig it. Congrats, Velvet Rose. Jabraz says, congrats, Velvet Rose. I'm going to start my A+ and then security and networking. So Velvet Rose, they're having a whole conversation between themselves. Hey, I love it. Keep doing your thing. So Mel and Liz said, housing prices, people need to keep in mind its market like other markets. It will keep going up, but will dip from time to time. That's right. So first of all, there's so much money that's got printed and pushed into circulation during this pandemic and things like that. Like, it's so much money that it has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere. You know, they say you can divide all the money up in the world. And this goes to mindset too, right? This goes to mindset, which is why I'm even making this video, because I want to change the mindset from what I used to be thinking to what I have experienced and what I know now. I know that 200,000 is the number, at least for me, that I noticed that, oh, I'm able to still, because let's just say, I want to say I'm first generation or whatever to money, because my grandfather had a lot of money and stuff. I didn't get a chance to really benefit from any of that. But my family on my dad's side, they were, we came from money or whatever. But I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood, all right? So when I'm going to school and when I'm, buying houses and stuff like that, my mom didn't have a house yet before. So I bought a house before my mom got a chance to. And so, like, all of these things, the household I'm coming from and the neighborhoods I was living in, catching the bus in the projects, the people I grew up around, all of that kind of stuff, that all kind of shaped my mentality about the world, about money, about everything. I didn't have any financial advice from anybody that I can like pull from. So for me, when I say I feel like I'm first generation, that's the reason why I feel like that. And so going through, if you know anything about being like, say, first generation to anything, and you coming from people who are less fortunate and stuff like that, then you know that as soon as you start getting money, you have to do things like help somebody pay for a funeral. You have to do things like your people just got locked up. You got to bond them out. You got to put some money on somebody's books. You got to do all of these things. You got to shoot your mama some money. You might have a auntie or a cousin who's struggling, or they got a kid that needs something. And so you're constantly like your first, like you're trying to get some money up, but you have to pull away from that to go help out with some other things. So of course that may take away from some of your enjoyment. By the way, if y'all could, please smash that like button for me so we can get this video ranked in the YouTube algorithm. But you have to pull away some of that money in order to do some other things. But my counterparts who came from money, and both of their parents were accountants, and both of their grandparents were all accountants, and their great grandparents were accountants, or one was a doctor and one was a lawyer. And for Christmas, their grandparents fly them and their children out to Alaska, on granddad or on grandmama, and they have these nice houses and big yards and things like that. They have a completely different experience from getting to money for the first time. Well, that's not the first time, because they might have grew up with money, but for people like me, they have a completely different experience, because they don't have to give back. They don't have to pull away from their situation. So I can say that at the $100,000 mark, coming from being like first one or two people out of that environment, and you're constantly giving back, and you're constantly looking out, and you're constantly pulling from those things while you're trying to get there. Like, your people look at it like, oh, you straight, but you know what you want, what you really want. You're in a nice apartment, but you really want to be in a house. But because your apartment is nicer than the environment you came from, the people from your environment, like, yo, you got a dope apartment, yo. But bro, like, let me get $200 real quick. Let me get $50 real quick, man. I'm messed up, bro. And so you're constantly pulling away, but they don't know that apartment is below the standard that you're trying to live at. But at $100,000 or $80,000, it's still not enough to kind of look out and still kind of put yourself in a better position. But at $200,000, and at $200,000, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Trust me, it's a different. Let me see what y'all saying in this comment section. All right, so okay. So BJ said, agree, I got to get my income up. Thanks for the government contract game. No problem, man. You got to get it. David Harris said, what's up, Casino? Do you still own your trucking company? So I had went over into consulting, and originally I had leased out my equipment to another trucking company that I was they kind of needed some consulting or whatever, but I ended up leasing out my truck because they had needed more equipment. So my truck and my trailer, I leased it out to them. And then they had some personal issues going on. So when I got the equipment back, it had got vandalized while they had it. So when I got the equipment back, I just sold it all, sold the trailer, sold the truck, got rid of everything, because I had already gone into the consulting, and consulting was just more lucrative for me as an individual, because I know so much about trucking that I can almost teach it in my sleep. It's crazy, but that was only because I've had so much experience, like just as a I guess a fleet owner or an authority owner. Like, I have my own authority. So having to do that is way different from like leasing on to another company or just driving or something like that. It's a completely different experience. Like, I booked my own loads I started out using a dispatcher. Then I started dispatching my own stuff, working with brokers, working deals directly with the person trying to ship, dealing with companies. Like, I started doing all of that stuff, the drug consortiums, the IRP tags, the IFTA stickers, like the Keep Trucking ELDs. I got sponsored by Keep Trucking ELD company, the company that makes the ELD for Keep Trucking. I actually got a video on my channel where I got sponsored by them because, I had experience working with them and stuff like that. And so they like what I was doing with like YouTube and teaching trucking. And so I did a joint venture with them and a factoring company called OTR Capital. So I had interviewed them and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. They paid me for the video. Everybody was good. I was happy about that. But yeah, so like I had moved over, but I moved over into the consulting area while trucking was still jumping. Like, cause now I don't know what's going on. Excuse me. I was supposed to be interviewing a lady. Supposed to be interviewing this lady who her and her husband got a fleet. And so she also drives dump trucks. So, but they have two semi trucks, and she's driving a dump truck for somebody else right now. So I'm going to be interviewing her. I think, is it this week? It's either this week or next week. I can't remember. I think it might be this week, the end of this week. Can't remember, but I'm gonna be interviewing her to find out like what the current state of trucking is, because I really don't know. By the way, if you haven't already, can you please smash the like button and help this video get ranked up higher in the YouTube algorithm? Matter of fact, let me refresh this because I can't really tell how it looks right now. Let's see. All right, okay, we got 19 likes. We gotta get some more likes on this, man. Y'all gotta hit that like button. But But yeah, so I really just want to come on here and tell you guys that, for me, the $200,000 mark needs to be the new standard that we all should be trying to get to. Forget the $100,000 mark. I mean, don't forget it. Like, get there and then get to the 150, then 160, 180. But you need to be set on at least 200,000. I think that should be the mark, at least for now. And that number may change. Excuse me. But I will say that at least right now, that is the number that I noticed the most difference. Even at the 140, I didn't see that much of a difference. Let me see. I think I noticed a difference at the $70,000 mark. Then the between 70 and 90 wasn't much difference. Excuse me. I noticed a little difference at the $100,000 mark, but it wasn't necessarily because of my living situation. It was more because I could qualify for more financing type of stuff at the $100,000 mark. Like from the $70,000, life was about the same as the $80,000 and $90,000 mark. Of course, you just got more money. You can do a few more things, but it wasn't too much difference to me. My quality of life was already a certain kind of way. So my quality of life was pretty much the same. And it wasn't until I got to, I think, when I got to the $100,000 mark, I did notice a difference there, but that was mainly just from filling out a credit app, I get approved for more money than I would have previously. So, hold on, let me try to send this. Okay. All right. So, but like, yeah, like I didn't really notice too much of a shift outside of that. So when I got to 110, 115, not much of a difference. The 140 mark, there was a change, there was a difference. But again, it was kind of more like I could just qualify for more stuff, Like it wasn't much of a difference. And then and that kind of just jumped into the 200 plus mark from there. Like, so, but it still, it didn't hit me at first, right? Like it didn't, like it's like, okay, cool. I see the numbers different now, but I really didn't think that the money was like it would be much of a noticeable difference, because at a certain point I was just like, well, it all kind of just feels the same. But and when I went to reflect on it, I was like, oh, this is different. This is a lot different. The 200 plus mark, it's definitely a difference. And so I think that we need to like set that as the new standard. That was my whole point of even trying to come on here and make this video, was just to say we need to start thinking about this thing differently. And we all need to be shooting for at least the 200,000. If you want freedom, if you want some kind of freedoms, if you want some kind of, okay, I'm first generation into this money thing. Well, I didn't come from a well financed background. A lot of people I know still ain't quite got their stuff together. And you want to be a good person, and you still want to look out, and you still want to take a trip here and there or whatever like that. And you still want to do certain things without it killing you, and being able to say, yo, I really want to get out of debt. At the $200,000 mark, it's like, yo, I could do a lot. I could do a lot. How bad do I want to get out of debt? It's like that. Okay, so hold on. Somebody just said they wanted 2 contracts. I thought I saw. Let me see. I'm going over. So okay, blah blah. Spot on casino. I'm in Raleigh. The housing here is getting ridiculous. Yeah. You have to make more money or get squeezed. You won't be able to afford to live here. Man, it's crazy, man. I already know. Like, that's another thing, right? The price of houses have gone up. The price of rent has gone up. And this, I will say, is the first time that rent has jumped up to a point where it makes real estate buy and hold look really good right now, because there's never a time that I can recall in history where rents were a full $1,000 above the mortgages. I can rent this house for over $2,500 a month, and my mortgage is $1,363. It's 4 bedrooms. Now, and that's just standard rent, like to one person. Now, if I rented each room out for like $1,500 a room, I can make $6,000 out of this house. This is the first time that I can ever recall in history that you can make a full $1,000 a month on top of the mortgage. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, if you got a business and you can make $1,000 a month net, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So like that's good. Like, you know, that's relatively good if you can make $1,000, because most businesses don't make anything. And you're talking about a passive business where they just pay you every month. Like, you ain't really doing nothing for it. Like, you owning it. That's crazy. I'm telling you. So yeah, but that's, you know, it's now becoming increasingly harder to get into certain spaces, you know. But I promise you though, like when you're looking at a certain account, right, and you saying, damn, I got $40,000 in here. Look, when you making $70,000, it's very difficult to look at an account and know you can put $20,000 into that account for the month. I mean, not for the month, but like for the year, like to say, okay, I got to live off of $50,000. That means I have to decrease my quality of life, right? Like if you make $70,000 a year and you say, dang, I really want to put $20,000 in here. And with the cost of everything rising, when your rent is $2,500 or $2,200 a month, and the light bill is $200-$300 or $100 to $300 a month, and then your car note is $500-$600 a month. Like when you're looking at all of that and you're like, yo, I make $70,000 and I really would love to put $20,000 up. You know, even if you put 10% of your salary up, $7,000, you can't put $20,000. You can't put $40,000 in nothing. It's a completely different thing. It's completely different. Get you $200,000 and you can do all kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm about to get up off of here. I'm glad y'all came in. Y'all rocking with me. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Hold on. All Pro says, when you got your current house, was that a major change? It looks very nice compared to being in apartments. All right, so before I get off here, I'm gonna tell you about this house. All right, this is what happened with me. You gotta mind you, I grew up in apartments. You know, I grew up in an apartment. Let me tell you about my first house. So I bought my first house. I lived in Germany for 3 years in like this loft above this salon. So I was coming, you know, from Germany and living in this apartment when I was in the Air Force. So I moved back to the States and I stayed with my cousin. He got a house in Atlanta. I stayed with him for a little while. Then I moved, I got in the reserves at Robins Air Force Base, and they kept putting me on orders. So they was putting me up in hotels because I technically on paper lived in Atlanta with my cousin, because I didn't have any other place to stay, but they put me on orders, so they'll put me in hotels. And I would stay on orders for like months and months and months. And so I was technically like living in a hotel, like for like almost a year or something like that, like a long time. So I was like used to like living in a hotel, and you know, that's just a room and a bed. And, you know, I had like a little living room and stuff like that. And so I lived there so long, the hotel like knew me. Like they was like, hey, you ever get people in town, we'll go ahead and just give you 2 rooms. We'll give you a room on the house because you like our longest guest, you know, whatever. So everything was cool. I enjoyed it. I didn't have to really clean up much. You know, they came, did housekeeping, you know, took trash out, all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. And then it was like, okay, I'm having a son now. I need to get a place for us to stay. This guy was telling me about how to buy my first house. So I bought my first house, which is a foreclosure. So to buy with a FHA loan or VA loan or any kind of loan like that, where you're going to buy a house, the lowest house that you can purchase to live in, because you had to live in this house, right? the lowest house that they would finance had started at $50,000. So you had to spend at least $50,000. You had to buy at least a $50,000 house to move into, to get the loan. And, that most people are like, yeah, that's super easy, right? So, but most people don't look at the 50,000 and above. They look 80, 90,000, 100,000, because they assume that the house that they're going to want is going to be at a certain price point, right? So I'm looking at the houses at 50,000 because I'm like, okay, well, let me set the parameter at the lowest instead of setting at 70, 80,000, because I was just looking for the lowest mortgage I can pay. And I found a house, and I closed on the house at $54,300. My mortgage was $405 a month, and that's including taxes and insurance. It was really like $200, like $205 a month, but taxes and insurance was another $200 something or something. So, or $200. So that's what caused it to be $405. And so right now it's like $5 something, but that's just because taxes have gone up over 12 years that I've owned it or whatever. Anyway, so when I moved there, my first day, everything is all manicured. I get the keys, I'm like, damn, it's crazy. I got a crib. It's 3 stories. I go in, I'm chilling. And, I was like, man, this grass is really nice. After so many days go past, every day I'm coming home and I'm like looking at the grass, and the grass getting higher and higher. And so I say, man, somebody, they probably gonna come cut this grass soon. So I leave again. And I think they put me on orders for like 3 days. I come back, my grass high now. Like it done rained, it's sunny, my grass is kind of high. I'm like, yo, man, these folks need to come cut this grass. And I came back outside to like go to my car, and I looked at that grass and I said, man, who can I call to tell them they need to come cut this grass? And that's when it hit me. I ain't never owned a house before. I'm waiting on somebody to come cut the grass, so I'm used to living in apartments. And that's when I realized, oh, it's my responsibility. I had no idea. That's, new homeowner type of stuff, right? I didn't know what I was doing, all right? So now I'm like trying to find somebody who can cut grass. Like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know. But it was like all these new experiences. So I stayed there for a while. Then I got stationed in Kansas, and I was out there and was living in a townhouse out there. And I still had my house in Macon, and I just was renting it out. So I was out there for a while, and then I came back to Atlanta, stayed in an apartment, and then I wasn't trying to like live in Atlanta at the time. I was planning to move somewhere else with the military and stuff. And so while I'm out there, staying with my brother in Douglasville, was in this apartment. I was like, look, I'll pay the difference between, you already live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I'll pay the difference between the 2 and the 3-bedroom. That way I have my own room. I'm adding a room, but I'll pay the difference. And so while we there, me and him get into this conversation about money. I'm already in school to be an accountant, and, I'm already, doing what I was doing as far as like learning financial literacy and stuff like that, and making certain kind of moves or whatever. And so he's my older brother by like 7 years, but we was having these conversations about money, and I'm telling him the things that I know about and things that I learned and what I would do and why he needs to stop renting, because he's been renting for over a decade and how much money it costed him. I sat down, showed him how much money, and he was like, oh, I got to get out of this apartment. He was like, this is the last time, this is going to be the last apartment lease I signed. And he was like, you can show me, what loan, how you did, whatever. I said, yeah. So long story short, we signed the shortest lease that we can sign, which was a 10-month lease. We signed a 10-month lease. In the 10th month, well, before the 10th month, my brother was already looking for a house, and he started building a house within that 10-month window, right? And so the house is going to be completed right before the lease was going to be up. And so I wasn't planning on living in Atlanta, but I had just got offered a position at the VA in the accounting section. And so I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and get in this apartment. I'm not really planning on being in Atlanta full time, but shoot, now that I know I'm going to be here for, I got this real position, let me go ahead and find this apartment. I hated the rent, but this was a new situation. I wasn't really even sure if I wanted to be here. And when I went to go look at apartments, they were saying average 1-bedroom apartment was like $1,380. And I was like, bro, it's no way There's no way. And then I couldn't even find one that was available. There was like nothing available. Like I didn't know the apartment game. You know, I was coming from overseas and other places and stuff, military bases and stuff. So I ain't really know the world of housing and apartments and stuff like that. So what I did was I found some apartments that was near my job, applied. They said it was a waiting list. And I was like, oh no, a waiting list? So you trying to tell me I gotta wait somewhere? I don't have time to wait. The lease is ending and this. My new job is starting. My brother building the house. So I rode my brother one time to go look at the house that he was building. And so while I was talking to the real estate agent, you know, about like what my brother was having going on, and then he told me the numbers, and the numbers was like low. Numbers was like $1,000 or $900 or something a month. And I was like, wait. Because I had already told my brother it's cheaper to buy than to rent anyway. And so I told him, like, so when this guy says it's like $900 or something, and it's a nice house, the same. So I said, yo, do y'all have any of these houses on the other side of town? Because my job was going to be on the other side of town. And from when my brother stayed, he said, he said, get on this website and, you know, just look around and see if you find anything. I found something near the job, you know, not too far, was on this side of town, not too far from the job, came here, got out here, and I said, look, I don't care what it costs. I just needed to be less than what a 1-bedroom apartment gonna be. And my number was $1,380, and it came in at like 13. My current mortgage is $1,363. So then it was much less. It was like $1,100, $1,200, something like that, like $1,100 or something. So I closed on the house, and it took, you know, so I closed on Halloween. So I was dressed as Dracula. It's embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing. But I closed on the house, and I come here. I have all my stuff in the car because I'm not going to drive all the way back to Douglasville. I'm just not going to do it. It was too far. That was the whole reason I was trying to get from over there. It was too far to get back and forth to work. So I leave work, go close. Then I got a car full of stuff, air bed, everything. Clothes for work and everything for the rest of the week. So I pull up here, come in the house, and it was kind of scary in here because it's a long story. There's a lot of stuff. But anyway, I come in and I got this big bedroom. And so I got this queen air mattress. I let it up, and then I wake up that next morning and I ain't know where I was at. I didn't know where I was at. Had no idea where I was. I was confused. I was looking around like, where am I at right now? Like, this is the first time maybe this has happened in the past before when I was younger as a kid or something, but this was the first time that I can recall as an adult that I woke up somewhere and I had no idea where I was at. And so I'm looking around and I'm like, why am I on the floor? You know, and I'm looking at these pillars that are in my bedroom, like in the sitting area, because I slept in the sitting area on the floor. And so I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, where am I at? And then, so I stand up and I'm like looking around, and then I said, oh, I bought a house yesterday. Oh, this is crazy. So I go get ready for work. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the mirror. I'm getting ready in the bathroom. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. But now I start like watching YouTube videos and listening to music. And so now I'm dressed or whatever. I'm just looking in the mirror. All right, cool. I'm good. And so when I walk out, I had got complacent already that fast. Like I'm not even thinking, oh man, this is my new house. So when I walk out my bedroom, I look down. So as soon as you walk out the bedroom, there's a balcony where you can look down, you know, the stairs and stuff like that, like the balcony thing. And it's like a dope view. If you ain't never seen nothing, like, you know, if you ain't used to seeing it. So when I walk out, it hit me all over again. It's like, oh, what? Where am I at? You know? And this went on for maybe 2 weeks. For about 2 weeks, every day I woke up, I didn't know where I was at. Every day. And now I don't know what it's like to live anywhere else. Like, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't imagine not living here. It's weird. Like I want a bigger house now. I want a house about 3 times this size, you know? Because I really want a Phantom, but I can't park a Phantom at a house like this, you know? This house is like 3,000 square feet, like 3,100 square feet. I need a house like 9,000 to 12,000 square feet, something like that. I can't park a Phantom here. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the neighborhood for that. It's a nice neighborhood, but it's, you know, it look crazy. All right. Even though I got a Porsche, you know, the Phantom will look crazy. But yeah, like that happened to me for like 2 weeks. Every day I was like, where am I at? Like, I don't know where I'm at. And then I remember the day that I didn't wake up like that. And I just woke up, I was like, all right, let me see where my stuff at. And I said, oh, dang, I done got used to it. Like, because every day I woke up not knowing where I was at. And then when I walked out the bedroom, I see that balcony, and because the sun is coming through, no blinds there or whatever. So the sun is coming through, and I'm just like, what? Every day for like 2 weeks. Now I don't even think about it. Now I'm like, yo, I need a bigger house, man. Do I love it? Yeah, I love it, but you know, I'm not done. I might be done, but I don't think so. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching this video. By the way, can y'all just check in for me real quick? Just let me know where y'all watching from. Where y'all watching from right now? Let me know where y'all watching from. Let's see. Naturally awake and say, amen. I know it. God been good to me. No cap. I do this. I'm trying to, okay. All right, let me see something. Trying to copy this link. And by the way, if y'all could, can y'all go over to my new YouTube channel? I'm working on building that up. It's called $1 Million Cino. Y'all go over there. I'm gonna start putting some music on there. People keep asking me about music. I'm gonna start doing it. But yeah, $200,000 should be the new standard. And I'm gonna get off of here real quick. I appreciate y'all coming, checking in with me. You feel me? Anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. If you haven't already, please like this video. Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we out.
Beat me up, Scotty. Me and her together, we just count it up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she said, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap. They ain't never paid it down.
I know it's crazy, right? There's money everywhere. There's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name. They're a hedge fund manager.